Packed house this Saturday afternoon from Roger Dean Stadium. It's spring training 2016 for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's scheduled to pitch this afternoon, and that's the Cardinals closer, Trevor Rosenthal. He's also a part of our Toyota Keys to the Game. Rounding into form and vital to the team's success coming off a 48-save campaign a year ago. That's a look at your Toyota Keys to the Game. The Nationals are in town. Cards, Nats coming up. St. Louis Cardinals baseball. This afternoon from Roger Dean Stadium, it is hot, it is muggy. It's the Washington Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. That's the Matt Hungarian Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. One of the final tune-ups from Mike Leake as he'll go today for the Cardinals, and he's been outstanding this spring.
He really has been. Mike Leake, the big acquisition in the free agent market. It only cost money. It didn't cost players, and he is not disappointed. A very, very good athlete, good hitting pitcher, a sinker baller. He should be tailor-made for the Redbirds.
So it is Mike Leake going for the St. Louis Cardinals. On the other side, Tanner Roark, the start for the Nationals. Ryan Zimmerman, their big slugger, is in the lineup. Baseball next. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. The Mad Hungarian to my right. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome back to Roger Dean Stadium. It is warm. It is hot. And Bill Miller, he's got the right idea. The Cardinals' assistant hitting coach, get that suntan lotion out. because it is warm, and if you don't have the lotion out, you're going to look like a lobster in about 3 hours. That's just the way it is down here in Florida.
And, of course, sometimes when it's windy here, you kind of get fooled a little bit.
Exactly.
And you don't realize how penetrating the sun is and the rays.
Well, we're going to see Washington an awful lot more come up next spring because they, along with Houston, moving to the Palm Beach area and have a complex being built as we speak. By the way, that is Darren Baker on the left, Dusty on the right. You may remember Darren when JT Snow in the World Series for the Giants had to get him out of the way because he was the bat boy, changed the rules of Major League Baseball of the ages of the bat boys. They have to be at least 16, and Darren is now headed to Cal on a baseball scholarship. That's hard to believe. That is Darren Baker, and that's Mike Maddox there on the far left, and he is the new pitching coach with the Nationals.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to Mike before the game and in the dugout, and he's really looking forward. He's got an extremely talented staff, and he's kind of relishing working with Strasburg and the others right there in this game right here. How about Yachty? Question mark, when would he be available? And right now, I think everything's pointing that he'll be on the roster and starting opening day.
Let's take a look at Dusty Baker's lineup. Dusty Baker, the 66-year-old, 20 years of managerial experience, along with 19 years as a big league player. It'll be Drew, then Den Decker, Taylor, Zimmerman, Ramos, Heisey, Espinosa, Sizemore, and the pitcher Roark is batting ninth. And for the Cardinals, it is Mike Leake. And Leake, if you're just tuning in to spring training for the first time today, this guy arguably has been the best pitcher for the Cardinals. 11 innings this spring. He's allowed just one run, a .82 ERA, to go along with 12 strikeouts.
Well, I think Mike Matheny was talking about how excited he is to have him. He's just an excellent competitor, very good athlete. You know, he's one of the top hitting pitchers in the game. He can field his position, a hard worker. So everything just points to he's perfect in a Cardinal uniform.
So Stephen Drew will lead it off against Mike Leake. As we get a look at the Cardinals defense, Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. A lot of the regulars are in the lineup with Brandon Moss in a natural position for him, which is the outfield. He's in left. Grichuk has had a fine spring. He's in center. Tommy Pham, he'll be your fourth outfielder. He's in right. Matt Carpenter is at third. Ruben Tejada recently picked up. He's at short. Colton Wong at second. Matt Holliday at first. And Yadier Molina behind the plate. You could see this happening an awful lot this year. Brandon Moss playing the outfield and Matt Holliday at first base.
Well, I think we'd see Matt Holliday as early as opening day against Liriano, a tough lefty over at first base. Of course, Piscotty would be in the outfield mix. He played all 9 innings yesterday.
So the first pitch by Leake is taken for a ball by Stephen Drew. Now 33 years of age. He's been with the Diamondbacks, the A's, Red Sox, won a world championship with them against St. Louis. And most recently, prior to his stop in Washington, the New York Yankees. 2 balls and no strikes.
Had 17 home runs last year, but just a 201 average.
And Drew taps it foul.
And Danny, the Nationals, who are going to be a very good ball club again this year, a major disappointment last season and cost Matt Williams a job. I think he also lost control of the clubhouse. But right now, Stephen Drew and about 5 other guys are fighting for that final spot on the bench.
The 2-1 pitch taken low and outside. At this time last year, they were the consensus pick to win the division. Many felt maybe even the World Series. They crashed in August, were basically done by the second week of September, and finished 7 games back of the New York Mets, who went to the World Series.
I remember it was kind of a funny deal. The Mets thought they were going to be a contending team, but they were trying to break about an 8-year losing streak. And the Nationals, because of their great starting staff, they felt like they were the team to beat. But boy, what on paper doesn't always translate in the win column, does it?
83 and 79, second in the National League East. You can see they're playing Stephen Drew to pull. They've got the shift on. 3-2 the count on the Nationals' second baseman today. And a strikeout. Couldn't pull the trigger, and that's how we start the afternoon. It's been those kind of near swings or late swings against Mike Leake we've seen all spring. He must have really good late movement.
Yeah, and I've noticed a few of his pitches have been up in some of his outings, but they're not taking advantage of it, and he's not walking anybody. And this is the one thing, you know, that he'll challenge hitters. He's not afraid to go right after hitters with good movement. He gets ground balls.
That pitch taken down and in by Matt Den Decker, known for his defense with the New York Mets, was up and down the last 3 years with the Metropolitans, and now picked up by Washington. Breaking ball drops in for a strike, 1-1 the count.
Drew, you got about 6 guys that are trying to vie for that final spot, and may go down to a right-handed bench hitter.
That's slapped into center field and a base hit. One out hit for Matt Den Decker, and it brings in Michael A. Taylor, celebrating a birthday today, and so is Brendan Ryan, who is vying for one of those spots on the bench for the Nationals. Signed a minor league deal, and we are behind the cage today. Dusty was working specifically with Brendan Ryan on his swing, and hard to believe, good old Brendan, now 34 years old.
Yeah, and Dusty loves this kid at the plate, too. Michael Taylor, probably going to be the 4th outfielder, but it won't be long before he'll be a star.
That's ripped out to left field. Going back, Brandon Moss. He won't get it. Over his head and over the wall. That's a ground rule double, so the Cardinals catch a break. As Den Decker would have scored easily if that hit off the wall.
That's the type of spring that Michael Taylor is having, just crushing the ball all over the place. And yet he'll probably find himself as the 4th outfielder, spelling out, and many people believe he should be the starting left fielder. But Jason Worth, the final year of his contract, and it's a big one, will probably be the one to start the season there, but it's only a matter of time before Taylor is going to show this on a consistent basis.
Yeah, in their outfield, Jason Worth, Michael Taylor, Bryce Harper, the reigning MVP, and then they picked up Ben Revere. He came over in the Drew Storen deal with Toronto. Here's Ryan Zimmerman, and the first pitch is taken low. This has been a mainstay in their lineup. It's been a so-so spring for Zimmerman, the first baseman now every day at that position. 259, 1 home run. He's driven in 6.
Had a lot of injuries to key personnel, and of course Zimmerman having to play first base now.
Little tapper hit up the middle, backhanded by Wong on the shortstop side of the bag, ranging well to his right to make the play. The run scores, and it's 1-0 Nationals.
Not hit particularly hard, but Wong gets over there and throws him out at first. But they drive in the second run of the spring against Mike Leake.
The catcher today is Wilson Ramos. Played in a career-high 128 games a year ago.
He had LASIK surgery on March the 4th, and they're saying now he's really swinging the bat well, seeing the ball much better. And also it's helped him defensively, being able to pick up the spin.
Well, you take it for granted, but, you know, we talk about elbows and shoulders and the quad muscles and obliques, but if you struggle seeing the baseball, tough to play this game. There's a guy that knows a thing or two about it. That is Tommy Pham, and he puts it away in right field. So Ramos flies out for the 3rd and final out. The RBI for Ryan Zimmerman. Half inning in the books, 1-0. Afternoon, Matt Carpenter, Colton Wong, and Matt Holliday in the bottom of the first. Then Grichuk, who's had a great spring, followed by Moss, Molina, Pham, Tejada, and the pitcher Mike Leake. Mike Leake and the Cardinals coming off a 100-win campaign a year ago. St. Louis, best record in baseball regular season. They were 162. Fifth consecutive appearance in the postseason, sixth time in the last 7 years. And the lineup we just showed you will face Tanner Roark, who will be in the rotation this year for Washington.
Yeah, remember 2 years ago he won 15 ball games and got bounced from the rotation. Didn't make 12 starts a year ago, but they expect him to be in that rotation from day one this year.
He struggled going from the bullpen back into the rotation. Extended long innings, just trying to find a feel for it, and they feel that by having him from day one in the rotation, it should get him back to where he was 2 years ago.
One of the problems he had is he was trying to strike out too many batters. He had some success in the bullpen, but then when he went back to the rotation, he was throwing high fastballs, and they were catching up to him.
Here's a 1-1. Inside to Carpenter, who's batting .219 this spring with 1 home run and 2 RBIs.
But they're trying to get him back to pounding the bottom of the strike zone with his good sinker and get the ground ball outs.
The 2-1. Carpenter coming off a season of 28 home runs last year. Cardinals haven't had great offense here in spring training, but it seems like we say that every year. This is a very tough hitter's ballpark. This time of the year in Florida, the wind is swirling at times. Many times it is blowing in from right. Known more for being a pitcher's park than a hitter's park.
Well, and you also can see the hitter's backdrop. You know, it's a screen. It's green, but it kind of looks like you can see through and see the white roof. The batting cages out there. You see that. You see how much that comes into play to some hitters. Of course, Espinosa of the Nationals, he don't even play at his home ballpark anymore because he can't see.
3-2 pitch to Carpenter. Tap to first. There's Zimmerman, the former everyday third baseman, now at first base in his second year at that position. And he puts it away for the out. The Nationals defensively behind Tanner Roark. Heisey in left, Den Decker, very good center fielder, and Taylor in right. Sizemore, Espinosa, Drew and Zimmerman on the infield, and Ramos is behind the plate. Here's Colton Wong.
Think about that defense. A lot of the national publications before spring training had Espinosa as the second baseman. He's playing shortstop today, and many think that's an indication that their number one prospect, Turner, will be in the minor leagues.
Gone is Ian Desmond, very popular player in their clubhouse, turned down a contract reportedly worth over $100 million 2 years ago, and then rejected a qualifying offer and eventually signed with Texas. So he left a lot of money on the table.
Oh, yeah. The qualifying was, what, about 15.8, and he ended up signing a one-year deal for $8 million. Of course, he had 20-plus home runs again, but he also led the league in errors at shortstop.
2-1 pitch, lifted out to deep left field, going back Heisey, and he can't make the play. It's off the wall. Long to second, and he'll stop there with a double. It's Chris Heisey out left, the former Red. We saw him a bunch with Dusty Baker, his tenure at the helm of the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, he's one of those guys on the bubble also. You know he's a very good pinch hitter, just like Reed and Johnson, but when they make that final spot and just down over the outstretched glove.
Well, when you play Matt Holliday at first base, it has to come at the expense of others, and for the most part, it's been Matt Adams, who has not had a ton of at-bats down here in spring training. He's going to try to get some work on the backfields to stay sharp. Holliday at first today, and that's into shallow center field, and Wong on his way to third. So the tying run will move to third base with just one out.
Bad throw by O'Rourke, but Stephen Drew's got to knock that ball down. Looked like kind of took it for granted. Sneaks in here, and of course the ball's going behind him, but As that ball got away from him, Wong got over to third base, and the Cardinals got a great opportunity to tie this game.
First pitch to Holiday. Last 5 years with runners in scoring position, Matt Holliday tops in Major League Baseball with a .379 average. Matt Carpenter, by the way, number 5. Runner at third is Colton Wong. The 1-0 pitch to Holiday. 2 balls and no strikes.
You've seen Matt Holliday hit an awful lot of hard ground balls that will go up the middle and into the outfield for an RBI single. He's a low ball hitter, but he hits the ball hard.
The 2-0. And this time he's hit by the pitch. So Roark got the first man, Carpenter, to ground out. Wong the double to left. Holiday hit by a pitch, and it brings in Randal Grichuk. Grichuk has had a very good spring. Leads the Cardinals in hits with 13. Leads in total bases. Tied for the team lead in doubles with 5 and in home runs with 2.
And he's also thrown out 2 runners at the plate.
And 3 total assists.
Another one yesterday. He also hit a home run in that game, a solo shot, swinging the bat very well.
1 out, runners at the corners. He's seeing a lot of that as spring training has gone forward. Breaking ball after breaking ball. He's not seeing any fastballs.
Well, that's fine because, you know, the more you see that, the more you're going to recognize the spin like he did and not just pull off the pitch. And he will make that adjustment.
The 0-1. 0-2. We've talked about his potential. If he could get to 500, 550 at-bats, you're talking about 30-plus home runs. But you're also probably talking about a lot of strikeouts. But in today's game, teams will sacrifice the power for the strikeouts if they get that production.
And he had production last year with 17 home runs.
The 0-2. He strikes out here. So Roark gets a big first inning strikeout. 2 outs, and it brings in Brandon Moss.
That's the key, is when do you strike out? And you see a little cutter and it comes up empty. I've seen a lot of hitters in the minor leagues that couldn't hit a wrinkle, a little breaking ball or anything, but because they saw so many that eventually or later on in their big league careers, they became a very good breaking ball hitter.
So 2 outs, 2 on. First pitch to Moss. Hitting .289 with 1 home run. He's driven in 7. The Cardinals' first base position last year, just a .392 slugging percentage. That was lowest in the National League. So they're trying to get production from that corner spot. 2016. Moss, did he go? He did. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Moss, remember, after the midseason trade, he hit 4 home runs with the Cardinals, but he had 19 on the season. And a normal offseason, and no longer nursing that surgery on his hip. Cardinals expect big things.
2 balls and a strike. Prior to last year, he had 3 consecutive seasons of at least 20 home runs. And you go back to 2013 and 14 when he was with the Oakland A's. He had 55 in those 2 years. So he's got power. Big gap in right center, the 2-1. Little tapper and off the mound Roark, and tags out Moss. The Cardinals strand 2, and they waste a golden opportunity to tie this game up. We have played 1 at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Nationals on top, 1-0. Quite a resume for Dusty Baker, the sixth manager of the Nationals since their arrival in D.C. in 2005. See that 1,671 career wins. That's second among active managers, trailing only Bruce Bochy.
Very good player in his own right, Dusty.
Two former teammates here, Chris Heisey and Mike Leake.
Chris Spire, the bench coach, isn't he? Or
hit to the left side. Long way to go for Moss. Giving chase and out of play. Chris Spire is the bench coach. Davey Lopes is their first base coach. Mike Maddox replacing Steve McCaddy as the pitching coach. Dusty Baker was one of their big offseason moves. Fired Matt Williams, brought in Dusty.
There you see Davey Lopes right there. And, you know, Davey Lopes is every single year, you know, the team that he coaches for, they increase their stolen bases. He said at one time that he really wanted to, you know, coach with the Cardinals when he thought about the running Redbirds. You know, he said, boy, they got all those rabbits and I could really help them. But he's been able to help even teams that don't have speedsters.
We saw him as a manager in Milwaukee and had a tough go there. Bottom line is you got to have the players to compete. They were rebuilding at that point in time. Count runs to 3-1 on Heisey. It's a 1-0 lead for the Nationals. Now the umpire is showing 3 balls, 2 strikes, and that's what we have as well. Now the board in right center field has just changed to 3-2, so that's what we're going to go with as well. And it is a strikeout of Heisey. He did go. Second strikeout for Mike Lee.
Heisey, you know, shown the ability to come off the bench and hit some big home runs in his career, but hasn't done that for a while. But maybe reunited with Dusty will help that cause.
The departures for the Nationals: Ian Desmond, Denard Spand, Jordan Zimmerman, Drew Storen traded away. Some pretty big names, that list, that have left our nation's capital.
Zimmerman got the big contract from the Detroit Tigers, over $100 million. I know Lance Lynn was very interested in that contract. He said his numbers, you know, are very similar to Zimmerman, but he's had, you know, Zimmerman really only had one good year and then had Tommy John surgery. Where I think Lance has had more, you know, winning combination.
Zimmerman is the first of anybody that's ever had Tommy John surgery to get a contract in the $100 millions. First ever.
Wainwright was just below it, right?
Mm-hmm. No balls and 2 strikes with 1 out, nobody on. Nationals tried to pick up Brandon Phillips, rejected the trade. He's a 10-5 guy and stayed in Cincinnati. He also made a late push for Jason Hayward but fell short, so they gave a 3-year deal to Daniel Murphy, formerly of the Mets. There's another strikeout, number 3 today for Mike Lee.
Yeah, Mike's not that particularly hard thrower, but he's a pitch maker. And 21st player. He was drafted 8th overall in the 2009 June draft by Cincinnati. They didn't pitch that year, but his first spring training at the big league level was 2010, and he made that ball club, becoming the 21st player to go right from amateur baseball to the major leagues without playing in the minor leagues.
At 40 wins in just 3 years at Arizona State. This is Scott Sizemore with a fly ball into shallow right center field, taken there by Grichuk, in a 1-2-3 inning for Mike Leake. As he strikes out 2-3 thus far. It's 1-0 midway through 2.
Hi, checking out.
coverage continues on Fox Sports Midwest tomorrow afternoon. The Cardinals face the Marlins at noon. And catch it on Fox Sports Midwest or head down to Ballpark Village. Game day specials, watch it on the big screen. Cardinals spring training only on Fox Sports Midwest, including today, 5 in a row, as we'll wrap up our spring schedule. And don't forget Blues hockey coming up later tonight. The Blues are red hot, playing great hockey down the stretch, and we'll have that game for you as well. As Molina fouls it back, and as Al mentioned earlier, Mike Matheny was asked about Yadier Molina, and he said he's checked all the boxes, and all signs are a go that he will be our opening day catcher once again. As we'll open up a week from tomorrow in Pittsburgh as Molina pops that ball foul and out of play. That was one of the big question marks coming into spring. How would the hand respond, and the 2 surgeries, and so far so good.
Yeah, at one time the Cardinals looked like they were going to need to take 3 catchers, but that is not in the plans now. Yadi will be available opening day, and looks like Pena will be his only backup. I think the Cardinals really have improved that catching situation with Brian Pena.
0-2 the count on Yadier Molina. Roster is not set yet. Jordan Walden missed the final 5 months last year, only 12 appearances, and 2 days ago he said he had a little knot that caused tightness on his right side, as Molina is the first out. And so the Cardinals still need to see if he can get over a couple of hurdles before he's added to that 25-man roster.
Mike Matheny said he is on the list to pitch today, so let's hope he can erase that one, Brahman. I don't know if you saw it, but I happened to see Luke Weaver, one of the young talented prospects in the organization, and I noticed that he was on kind of on the disabled list, and I didn't hear anything about it. I saw him. He's got a cast on his glove hand. There was a
collision in the outfield,
and end up fracturing a bone in his glove hand. But
Cardinals were very impressed with him early in camp too.
And I think he told me he's still throwing, still doing things. He just can't catch the ball.
It'll put him about a month behind, is what we are told. 3 balls and no strikes on Tommy Pham, who's hitting .270, 1 home run, and he has driven in 4. Mitch Harris, we haven't seen him at all in live action in the games that we've done. Will open this season on the DL. What's called compression syndrome. So he'll have rest and rehab for the next 2 weeks. Then they'll reevaluate him and see where he's at. But Mitch Harris is basically shut down for the rest of spring. Talked to him today. He said he's feeling much better, but time will tell. 3-2. Pham, ground ball to short, deep in the hole. Look at this play. My goodness, what a play. Danny Espinosa, a la Derek Jeter, with that hop deep in the hole and the strong throw to first.
Well, they know Espinosa can play defense. Just question, can he hit enough to keep himself in the lineup? But he makes his play from shortstop, but on the edge of the grass, muscles it over there and throws out Tommy Pham, who was hustling all the way.
That's not one of your lumbering runners there either.
No.
That's one of the quicker men in this lineup for the Cardinals. Great play. Here's Ruben Tejada, the Cardinals shortstop. And he looks at a ball. Tejada, good spring combined with New York, batting .310. 1 home run. He has driven in 6. 8th place hitter today. Mike Leake is on deck.
Tejada makes all the plays defensively. Swung the bat well down the stretch last year before having the injury. The takeout slide by Utley broke his leg.
One ball and 2 strikes. Better part of camp, it was Jed Jerko and Aledmus Diaz Getting that playing time at short. Diaz only 58 plate appearances above AA. So they want to get him some more seasoning in the minor leagues, let him play every day, and going with a proven major league shortstop in Tejada.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Diaz impressed people here at this level, but unless you're going to play him every day or 5 times a week, he's better off going back to the minor leagues, getting that playing time, getting that experience. And then when hopefully you come up to play every day.
2 outs, nobody on, and a 2-2 pitch. Curveball lifted to the left side, and that time Espinosa couldn't get to it. And neither could the third baseman Sizemore, and it's a base hit. The Cardinals' second hit today off the bat of Tejada. The Cardinals could have a staff in terms of their pitchers that hit that could be the best in the National League. Wainwright, Leake, Garcia, who is scheduled to throw here tomorrow, can swing the bat and handle it. Mike Leake, good numbers in his major league career for a pitcher. 212, 6 home runs, 23 RBIs.
2 times already in his brief career, he's led all National League pitchers in hitting.
And there is a base hit to right. Take what they give you.
Come on, Carter, grab back. Come on.
Survey the defense and then find a hole. But he's already told Adam Wainwright, Adam thinks there's going to be a competition, and he's kind of, nope, not really. I'll be the best hitter amongst the pitchers.
Mike Leake is only 2 points back of Zach Greinke in terms of active pitchers to have the best average.
Right.
So that could be a weapon for the Cardinals in the National League. RBI opportunity now for Carpenter. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. First pitch is taken low.
And I'm not sure where you fall in this, but, Carpenter, it just seemed like he really produces in these situations where the tail end of the order gets on base for him, and then he'll drive him in.
I like him from the leadoff spot, and once you're through that first time in the order, it's kind of like when you had the pitcher batting 8th, what Tony La Russa had always talked about, and other pitchers have been seen doing that. Then you get the RBI opportunities, and here we are. Second time through the order, and he's got a chance to drive in some runs. Drove in 84 last year. If this is where he's comfortable, why do you mess with it?
Well, I understand that. I think it would be better if he hit another spot. But as he says, until you can show me there's a better leadoff hitter, and my numbers are so good in that department, it doesn't make a lot of sense to put somebody out there that's not going to be as productive.
The 2-1. Now, do I think he should be a middle of the lineup type hitter with the kind of numbers that he puts up? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if this is where he says he's comfortable, I'm not so sure I want to mess with it. He's such a good player. You could bat him 8th and he'd still put up numbers. It really shouldn't matter.
Exactly. I think we both give him a lot more credit than maybe he gives himself. As a hitter, he should be able to hit any spot in the order and produce.
2 on, 2 outs, and a 2-2 pitch to Carpenter. Pulled foul. First time up, he tapped softly to Ryan Zimmerman at first base. His average last 3 years with runners in scoring position, as you get a look at Zimmerman, 331 for Matt Carpenter.
I think he's just one of those hitters that really looks forward to these opportunities. Some guys that dread it.
Outside, 3-2, Wong on deck. Whether or not he bats leadoff, the Cardinals need him in the lineup. They are 41 games above 500 in his career when he's in the lineup. .41.
Yeah.
Pretty telling stat.
Well, he led the team in home runs and RBIs a year ago. He's one of those guys that rarely will give it away in a bat. Very competitive. And he can foul off 3-2 pitches or 2-strike pitches with the best of them.
Runners go on the 3-2, and Carpenter swings and misses and strikes out. Roark has stranded 4 in the first 2 innings, picks up his second strikeout of the afternoon. This inning highlighted by Danny Espinosa. Tremendous play to Rob Tommy Pham. Three rolls in from Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. MLB.TV Premium. Everything you've come to expect and more. New low price for 2016. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams live in true high definition on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV for details. Bart Delsing is here. His brother Jay, of course, PGA Pro, and he's been working with Fox Sports on the golf side of things. Their father was the pinch runner, by the way,
yes,
for Eddie Goodell. And the tie-in there, as you get a look at Tanner Roark, is that Bill DeWitt Jr., they used his jersey. He was the bat boy. And it basically was a stunt put on at that time to have what they call now little people, Eddie Goodell, hit. And he drew a walk, and then the pinch runner was Bart and Jay's father.
Jim Delsing.
Taken there by Matt Holliday on a hop, and there is one away. We have a bobblehead, an Eddie Goodell bobblehead coming up later this season at the ballpark. That jersey is prominently displayed over at the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum.
And prior to that, it had been in Cooperstown. Trivia question at that time was what Major League owner has his uniform in the Hall of Fame?
That'd be Bill DeWitt Jr.
Yeah.
20 years now of that ownership group, and what a run it has been in those 20 years. Back to the top of the lineup, and Stephen Drew, who struck out looking to start the game against Mike Leake. Drops in for a strike. When I see Leake, not body type, but just how he pitches, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Kyle Loesch. Movement, location.
I remember coming out of Arizona State in that first year. He looked like Bronson Arroyo Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we opened the season against Cincinnati in 2010, and they said, well, this kid's our #1 draft pick, but he pitched his way onto the staff.
He's got a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, throws a cutter, a slider, changeup, a knuckle curve. Taken low, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Last season, split time with the Reds and Giants. Giants picked him up for the stretch run. All told, he was 11-10 with a 3.70 ERA. The 2-2. Boy, that late movement.
Yep.
Piling up the strikeouts here in spring. And that's 4 already in just 2 2/3 innings for Mike Leake.
He's not a big guy by any means, and either in height or in weight wise, but he's an athlete, and it looks like it when he's out there that he can field his position. We saw and talked about his ability to hit when he's in the batter's box.
Matt Den Decker looks at a strike. He singled and scored back in the first inning. Lone run today.
Real simple, repeatable delivery.
Had the chance to visit with Mike here in spring training. Real good guy. Getting comfortable with his new teammates. And that's something to keep in mind, too. This is a team that he's gone toe-to-toe with the last 5-6 years. The Cardinals, and now you're thrust into a rotation with veterans like Adam Wainwright. You're just trying to figure it all out. Get comfortable. Know your teammates. And he's fit right in. Here's the 0-2. Goodbye. Strikeout. 2 in the inning. 5 for Mike Leake. Coming up for the Cardinals, 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup. That means Colton Wong leads it off when we come back. Nationals, bottom of the third. Spring training rolls on from Roger Dean Stadium as Colton Wong takes a strike from the 29-year-old Tanner Roark. Appeared in 40 games, started 12 of them last year, was 4-7. And quickly, 2 breaking balls, 2 strikes to Wong, who doubled to left field his first time up.
Really changing speeds, keeping guys honest.
Start yesterday was washed out against the Marlins. So we had some serious rainstorms here in the area.
Yeah, talking to Dusty, he thought there was no way we'd play this game today after all the rain.
Little tapper up the line and a foul ball.
The Nationals were supposed to play the Marlins last night here at Roger Dean, and it looked like it was going to rain all day, and it didn't until about 6 p.m., but when it did, it did.
It came down in buckets. And lightning. Stadium
thunder.
actually was struck by lightning, knocked out some of the power here at the ballpark.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's just air conditioning.
We're all good. Hey, we're in warm weather. What else could be wrong on a beautiful day here at Roger Dean? As Wong grounds it towards second. Tough play here for Drew, and Colton beats it out. 2-hit day so far for Colton Wong, and the leadoff man is aboard. That shows you a little bit of what Colton Wong can do for a team. He's made a very good play defensively, ranging to the shortstop side of the bag. He showed his power with a double off the wall in left, and now an infield hit with his speed.
And the one thing that, Colton wanted to be a leadoff man, and still we haven't shown that he has nailed that down, but there's a lot of attributes that would lend you to think of him as a leadoff hitter.
Big lead at first base. 15 stolen bases last year for Wong. The Cardinals have been running wild this spring, albeit with many players that are now at minor league camp. However, the idea has been they wanted to be more aggressive, and they have done that. We'll see if it carries over to the regular season. Leaning towards second base is Wong, and he dives back in safely.
I think we could say that Colton Wong will steal more bases this year than a year ago. 15 is a little low for him. But part of that emphasis that Mike wants to take advantage on the road, be very aggressive, find your limit, whether it's taking a lead but go from first to third. Don't have a lot of base stealers. They've got a few, but can they go first to third, which would dramatically help that run scoring.
Holiday was hit by a pitch first time up on the left thigh. Outfield is straight away and deep. Here's the 0-1. And a base hit into right field. Wong to second base. No stop there. He actually ducked. Make sure he was out of the way of that line drive. If he didn't, you wonder if he's at third base.
Matt Holliday is a good low ball hitter. He hit a lot of ground balls, but he's recognized a pitch that was up. And this pitch is up, and he does a good job just aiming towards the right field. And there's where you say, just because a little duck right there, it probably cost Colton even the chance to think of go to third. And
so here is Grichuk, who struck out first time up. That pitch in the dirt. Had the chance to visit with Bill Miller's mom, who was here for spring break with a bunch of her friends. Dad is resting comfortably back home, he said, and life is good in the Miller family. Some kids were over at Disney World the other day, and these coaches put in a lot of time. Billy was telling me he'll go to bed around 7:30 every night. He's up by about 4:30 at the ballpark, no later than 5:15, 5:30 to work with the minor leaguers that come in early. Here's a 1-0.
And of course, Jose Oquendo has had knee surgery. He had a little cleanup procedure a couple weeks ago, and so he's still on crutches, and that's why Miller's over at first base coaching, the assistant hitting coach.
1 ball and 1 strike. Ooh, what a rip by Grichuk. He'd love to have that one back. That seemed to be a hanging breaking ball. Grichuk last year dealt with injuries. Can he stay healthy? That's probably the question right now. Is a lot of scouts, a lot of media members that are seeing the Cardinals here in spring training are talking about the great potential of number 15. They think this guy's going to be a star.
Yeah, you don't have to be a great breaking ball hitter, but you do have to capitalize on the hangers.
1-2 the count. Had a back injury twice last year. Hurt his right elbow, but that's not a problem with the way that he's thrown the baseball. And you get a look at the home runs last year in the National League. It's a sports hernia as well.
17 home runs and about half as many at bats.
There's the breaking ball, tap towards third, steps on the bag, and they'll get one out. It's the lead man, Colton Wong. So first and second for Brandon Moss. Rounded back to the pitcher his first time up, and he's 0 for 1. Last year with the Cardinals, he played in 51 games. What did stand out for him was on-base percentage close to .350. It seemed like everything that he hit in the first 7 to 10 games that he played in was at the wall or at the track and caught.
I was going to say warning track power. You know, but had that hip that was surgically repaired. So he didn't have that solid foundation underneath him. And now with a normal offseason, they feel that that power will come back. But he's also a guy that's going to hit some home runs, and he's going to strike out a ton.
The 2-0. 2-1. Molina on deck. Cardinals trailing 1-0 as the Nationals scored in the first. Big gap in right center for Brandon Moss, who has shown this spring a lot of power the other way. Took something off it, evens it up at 2-2. Moss is 32.
It's really changed speeds well against these guys. And
Brandon, a free agent to be. Cardinals his sixth team in the big leagues. And he strikes out. So the third strikeout for Tanner Roark, and it brings in Yachty.
Just couldn't pull the trigger. Big hanging breaking ball, and sure when he was up around high level he gave up on it, and then it fell down to the strike zone.
So 2 outs.
That pitch right there, if you know it's coming, you don't want to leave a pitch up there.
Runners at first and second, and here is Molina. Rounded out to short first time up, and on the first pitch he skies one on the infield. Calling for it, Stephen Drew. The Cardinals have stranded 6 in the first 3 innings, so they've had their opportunities. They have not cashed in. Nationals on top as we head to the 4th. Home in St. Louis on the Hill, the boyhood home of Joe Garagiola. Just passed away in the last 48 hours. 90 years old. Very good baseball career. Joe, along with Yogi Berra, grew up on the Hill, and of course Joe became a great broadcaster in St. Louis and KMOX, and then went on to the Today Show and Saturday Baseball and so many different other things. But what a man.
The story I remember is the fact that Stan Musial was so shy and would get so many opportunities to go to banquets and different speaking events and never wanted to go, so he would push Joe in that favor. And that's how he got the experience and the colorful stories that we all have heard. And we've had the pleasure of seeing him the last couple of years in Arizona, where he worked a part-time broadcaster for a while.
That's tapped foul, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes on Michael A. Taylor, who doubled first time up. We'd see him anytime the Cardinals came through, and he'd stop in the booth and say hello and visit with us.
And then all that time doing the Saturday game of the week. I got to know him quite well as a player. outstanding baseball ambassador.
The 2-2. Breaking ball, a little bit low. Celebrating a birthday today is Michael A. Taylor from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, just down the road. 3-2 pitch and a ground ball pulled foul.
You know, he got forced to the big leagues a little bit last year before he was ready. Didn't totally succumb to the big league pressure, but I think this kid at some point when he's going to start playing every day, he's only 25, as that showed you, that he really is going to blossom into an outstanding player. Great speed, great power. He's got all the tools.
Another 3-2 by Leake, and he walked him. You know, speaking of the Diamondbacks, and that's where Joe is situated the last 10 to 15 years. Many believe Mike Leake was going to sign with Arizona to stay close to home. And I'm sure the parents are watching today, and that's Chris and Sarah Leake. And unfortunately, Chris, his father, fell off a roof in August building a cabin and has been in a wheelchair ever since. And so he wanted to stay close to his parents. And Mike has a young family of his own. And he just picked him off. How quick was that? You talk about this guy being an athlete. He can pitch. We've seen him hit. And now he picks off Taylor.
And that's it. You know, we talked about his athleticism. Well, part of that is quick feet. And Holiday does a nice job right there, learning that new position, but being involved in a pickoff and not being picked off himself. You know, that's what you'd like to see.
And the offseason was kind of unusual in the fact that all signs pointed to Leake going there. They wanted him. He wanted to go there. And then Tony La Russa and the Diamondbacks surprise everybody by getting Zach Greinke for an enormous contract, and then they trade for Shelby Miller. Right. So, you know, the money had dried up a little bit. They still worked on a deal, didn't happen, and so Leake kind of fell in the laps of the Cardinals after Lance Lynn went down with Tommy John. And as Mike was telling me the other day, you know, everything happens for a reason. I'm meant to be here.
Yeah, Mike Maddox said the Nationals had interest in him also.
No.
I read that article about his father. And hopefully they can come up with something. But, you know, pretty much wheelchair bound. Just doesn't have the ability to stand on his own right now, I think. Like everything else, there's medical science, miracles made every day.
2-2 is tap foul by Ryan Zimmerman. Rounded out, picked up an RBI back in the first.
Come on.
This guy has been some kind of player, Zimmerman, over the years. Was a very good defensive third baseman before he had arm issues. And in many ways, the face of the franchise for the Nationals last decade or so.
They got a pretty good third baseman who's going to be there every day.
Rendon. Here's a 3-2. Zimmerman hits it down the left field line. That ball is hooking, and it is a home run. Just stays fair inside the left field line, and Ryan Zimmerman picks up the home run. That's his second of the spring and his second RBI today. And it's 2-0 Washington.
I think he caught that breaking ball. Just a nice, easy swing, but hanging breaking balls go a long way.
Leake will give up his fair share, but the other thing that he does do very well, gets a lot of ground balls.
Yeah.
And I say you give up your fair share. When you play half your games or half your starts are in Cincinnati, you're going to give up some home runs. Long off his glove, couldn't come up with it. The shift was on for Wilson Ramos, and Colton came up almost with a beautiful play. Let's hope he's all right. Colton Wong is limping right now near the outfield grass.
Now you see he's on that third base side, and almost sure that didn't go off his face. Looked like he was limping a little bit. Like Leake might have screened him a little bit also as he's trying to redirect and get back to that ball.
So base hit by Ramos, and it brings in Heisey. Struck out his first time up. First pitch taken low. So walk, home run, and a single in this inning. Leake has struck out 5 and allowed 4 base hits and 2 runs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nationals have had a very good spring. They are 15-4-2. The Cardinals 8-11-3 this spring. This is game number 23 for St. Louis. 1-1 is fouled back. A week from tomorrow, we'll be in Pittsburgh. Open up the regular season. Liriano against Wainwright. We'll have that game for you on Fox Sports Midwest, a 2-hour pregame show beginning at 10 a.m.
And Leake should start game 3 of the Pittsburgh series, right?
I believe so. High fly ball out to left. Moss is back, and it's off the wall. So there's a double for Chris Heisey. What has turned into a tough inning for Mike Leake.
It'll be interesting to me to see how Mike Matheny, how much he uses his regulars, how long they'll play in ball games and pitching. But
well, he was saying before the game he wants to use this last week or so as more of a situational type game. So if you have a lefty-lefty matchup, you're going to see that.
To me, it's kind of remarkable how the players are much bigger, stronger, better conditioned, great athletes.
Espinosa with the infield drawn in, and it's through the legs of Wong. 1 run is in. Here comes another. That's the 5th error on Colton Wong this spring.
Well, we talked about Colton Wong, who can make the spectacular plays, but sometimes it's the easiest plays that really get by him and throw him up. Just try and do a little bit too much and forgot the most important thing is to catch the ball right between your legs. Comes up with the glove a little bit. It stays down, and I'm sure in his mind he anticipated everything, what he was going to do with that ball. Come home, look the runner back, get at least 1 out, maybe even a double play on it.
And with that, it's a 4-run Nationals lead. Here's Scott Sizemore. The 1 out in the inning came on a pickoff by Mike Leake. So the 8th man at the dish in the lineup, and then you have the pitcher spot. So Leake can get out of this. Espinosa is running. Ground ball hit left side. Pass to Hada. And Moss's only plays to get it back into second base. So Dusty Baker starts the runner. It pays off. Runners at the corners for Tanner Roark. 4th hit in the inning.
Got off the inning with a 3-2 walk, but then he picked off Taylor. I was going to say, too, Dan, it just seems like these guys don't get a lot of innings. And starters aren't getting a lot of innings by design. But, no, Manus has said he needs extra work.
One out, runners at the corners. Roark. His first time up. Grounded out to first. This exact spot the Cardinals were working on At about 10 a.m. today here at the ballpark. Runners at first and third. The bottom of the order up. Bunt situation. And how they want to play it. Ground ball. Carpenter has a play. Tags Espinosa for the second out.
They did that one to perfection. Carpenter, the key there was instead of throwing immediately home, he closed the gap and was able to just tag the run around himself. If you throw home, then you allow Espinosa to gain a run down long enough to where both runners could possibly advance to second and third. So at the most, you should only have one throw.
Now Stephen Drew. Breaking ball taken inside. This has probably been Leake's toughest start and maybe his toughest inning so far as a Cardinal. 2 outs and 2 on. 1-0 pitch.
Danny, this week, and I'm talking pretty much the one that's closing out, is the toughest week of spring training. You've been down here so long, you're starting to get bored. You know, next week you can start looking forward to, you're on a break camp after the game on Thursday. The season's right around the corner. But this is the one that really drags on.
I know you used to talk about dead arm stage, too, for a lot of guys at this point in camp, too.
Yeah, that's the thing I worry a little bit with. You know, it used to be where starters would throw 30, 40 innings in spring training. And now they're getting half that many innings. So sometimes you sit there and you don't go through that dead arm stage at the end of spring training. You do it at the beginning of April.
6 strikeouts for Mike Leake. Nationals pick up 3, and they lead it 4-0. Midway through 4. Hey, Cardinal fans, next time you want to grab Cardinal seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you love, whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by best value. So get that StubHub app today. Just a gorgeous day here in Florida. Glad that you're with us. And wherever you may be watching Cardinals baseball this afternoon, longtime Cardinal fans, Larry and Brian Winchell, in attendance today, watching the Redbirds. Mom Vicky stuck at home in Atlanta and watching on TV. We've had huge crowds all spring. It started with the exhibition game against Florida Atlantic. And here is Tommy Pham, 7, 8, and 9 in the Cardinals lineup. You mentioned it, Al, the lack of innings, if you will, has been by design. In particular with Wainwright, Walker, even Leake had a little different approach going into spring this season, just trying to save up and get ready for the regular season. 2-0 the count on Pham, who was robbed his first time up.
Kind of the combination of Cardinals every year, 5 consecutive seasons they've gone into postseason play, so you're not just trying to get through the grind of 162 games, you're trying to get through October too.
Isn't it amazing how that, for the most part, has not caught up with the Cardinals? As many times as they have been in postseason play, and the wear and tear that can have on a pitching staff, and going deep into the playoffs. Now, last year was an exception. They made it into postseason, did not go deep, but for the most part they have. And, you know, you really wonder about that if and when it ever catches up. As Pham hits a fly ball into right field. Michael A. Taylor makes the catch.
You know, I thought it did catch up to Martinez and Walker late last season. But, you know, and I don't expect that to return now that they've gone through that bridge. But it was just such a large increase in innings pitched for those two. It did catch up to Peralta, Molina, and Wong in the second half because, quite frankly, Mike Matheny didn't have anybody he trusted to spell those guys.
One out, and this is Tejada. There's Colt Wong there on the right, Michael Wacha, and Jaime Garcia. Garcia scheduled to go tomorrow against the Marlins. Hit to short, off the glove of Espinosa. Stays with it, fires to first, and got him. And Tejada is out number 2.
Hard shot right there. Might have been knuckling on Espinosa, but stayed with it. Reacted, kept close enough to where he could come up and scramble and show off that good arm.
So 2 outs, and the batter is the pitcher, Mike Leake. Single to right his first time up. The 1-1. Leake looks high. Made his major league debut in 2010. 5th in the National League in innings, tied for 5th in starts, so he has been very durable in his time with the Cincinnati Reds, and now here in St. Louis.
Had a little hamstring issue last year, but it still made his 30 starts.
3-2.
I think we're going to see more and more personality from him too as he becomes more and more comfortable.
And he draws a 2-out walk. Roark his first walk, and it comes to Mike Leake. Baseball's a funny game. You get the first 2 guys. Tommy Pham flies to deep right. Next guy hits a rocket. You get him, and then you walk the pitcher. Probably thinking, well, maybe I'm through this inning. Not so.
Always pay respect to anybody standing in that batter's box.
Carpenter 0 for 2. He's grounded out and struck out. Cardinals have stranded 6 in the first 3 innings. Watch the approach of Matt Carpenter, and in terms of his stance, it just never changes. The lean back, the rock, back and forth, seems to always go deep into counts. 1-0 pitch. 3 years ago, he had 72 walks. Year after that, he led the league with 95, and last year he had 81. Those are 3 years as being a regular with the Cardinals. 1-1 pitch. Now 1-2. Now with the power that's been up, so have the strikeouts. He struck out 151 times last year, but there's no disputing the outstanding year that he put together.
No, and I think he's still trying to figure out what type of hitter he is. You remember, one year he hit 55 doubles to break Stan Musial's record for a left-handed hitter. Last year he led in home runs and RBIs.
And doubles.
And doubles, and he just...
Carpenter hits it into left center field. That ball is down. Leak on his way to third.
See, there's a good piece of running from a pitcher. I mean, there's 2 outs, so you're going to put your head down. But we see a lot of times, because it's a pitcher running, they're going to stop at second base. But why? Put your head down, run. Let somebody else tell you if they caught it or not. That's pretty much what he's done. He looked out there after he went by second, saw that the ball was down, stays on the bag.
This will be Greg Garcia pinch hitting for Wong, and you just wonder if Wong is a little nicked up after diving for that baseball. Got up, he was sore. I saw the medical team go over and talk to Mike Matheny in between innings after they checked on Wong, so they're going to be cautious, it looks like, with him, and Greg Garcia takes over at second base. Wong, by the way, had been 2 for 2 at the plate.
Yeah, and that's also the nightmarish scenario for a manager and general manager and training staff is the last week, get your work in, but don't get anybody hurt.
Here's a 1-0. And a ground ball to first, handled by Zimmerman. The Cardinals have stranded 8 in the first 4 innings. We head to the 5th. Mike Leake back to work. All Washington this far. 4-0 on Fox Sports Midwest. His career on opening day, he's made 4 starts, and this is Adam Wainwright. 2-1 record, a 1.78 ERA. Great to see him back in the rotation for the Cardinals. He will not be at the ballpark tomorrow, by the way, because he won the bunting contest.
And got the day off.
Gets the day off, and we'll see him, though, a week from tomorrow. He better be there. He's the opening day starter against Francisco Liriano. Cardinals and Pirates, 2-hour pregame show starting at 10. And we'll have it for you on Fox Sports Midwest.
Well, I think Adam will be there. Hopefully the Cardinals offense will, too.
Do you get the feeling that when we talk to scouts, and I love spring training and the fact that you can talk to so many scouts and various national media members that stop by the different stops along the Grapefruit League, that many of them are overlooking the Pirates. It's a lot of talk about the Cubs, and they finished with a flourish last year, and Joe Madden grabs a lot of headlines, and their team does. But it just seems like people have kind of overlooked the Pirates, and this is a very good team coming back this year. There's a base hit into right by Matt Dindecker.
Well, you know, my thought on the Pirates was a couple years ago, you know, you felt like they were getting better and better, but they were still going to have to convince themselves how to win and learn how to win. Well, now they've learned how to win. And, you know, when you put the seasons back to back to back, now they're starting to get to expect that victory, kind of the way the Cardinals handle things themselves. Interesting conversation with Brian Pena.
The happiest man in baseball?
Well, he is. And I kind of asked him about, you know, coming here, the difference between this camp and others, and he said, well, by far, this one is so much more organized. But he said, I've always wondered from across the diamond, why do the Cardinals win? And he said, I'm starting to figure out why. I see why they win, the way they practice, the way they regimented, and everything is outlined.
There's a ground ball to third, and that's off of Carpenter's throwing hand, it looks like. He's shaking that hand. Boy, that's the last thing the Cardinals need. Make sure he's all right. Look to be a double play ball potentially, at least get the lead man. Wong is already out of this game, and let's hope Matt Carpenter's okay.
Now you come over there, your left, you get your momentum going right towards second base. Easy throw, you get a double play, and then the ball comes up and gets him on the bare hand. Those fingertips, have a ball hit you right there on the nail or jam a finger.
What were you just saying? Get out of camp.
Yeah,
Okay.
Get out of camp.
So an error, the second by the Cardinals today, and here's Ryan Zimmerman. Zimmerman with a home run and an RBI, 2 on the day.
Not only was that an error, but it really was a 2-out error, because I think they have that double play there.
Matt Bowman begins to throw in the Cardinals' pen, and that's hit out of play. Pitch count at 75 for Mike Leake. His final tune-up would be Thursday. There's a look at Bowman. But Leake would go Thursday against the Yankees, and then the Cardinals will fly out and head to Pittsburgh.
Bowman was a Rule 5 selection, so they have to make a decision on him or send him back to the Mets.
The 1-1 is tapped foul, and we'll talk to General Manager John Mozeliak about that in the 6th inning. He'll come in and give us an update on what's happening with his roster. And still, you know, there's some uncertainty with, in particular, Jordan Walden and how he feels and how he fares in the next week. So Bowman could still fit into the plans for the Cardinals.
And they might try to work a deal with the Mets. Try and keep him. They like his arm.
But swung on and missed, and Zimmerman strikes out. That's 7 today for Mike Leake. Cardinals bullpen, Al, in my mind, could be a real strength when healthy.
Well, we knew they won 100 games last year because of the pitching staff. It was historic in their ERA, both starters and relievers, but the unbelievable job they did with runners in scoring position, you know, really cut down. Got very, very stingy and had, you know, about a 2.20 ERA with runners in scoring position. But I totally agree with you. I think the rotation could be better and the bullpen should be better. And they were both very good last year.
2 on, 1 out. Wilson Ramos at the plate. 0-1 pitch. I was watching Brian Pena warm up Mike Leake 2 innings ago. And Pena was going on both sides of the plate. Back and forth, back and forth. His glove didn't move. I mean, Mike Leake hits his spot. Let's see if he hits his spot here with Molina. Wants it low and away, gets it there. Doesn't chase. We've seen Leake not as sharp today as we've seen in the previous starts, but a couple plays made behind him, it's a different game.
Absolutely. And remember, he gave up a couple hits in the first inning, and he was outstanding. Had 7 in a row before they ran into trouble.
2-1, and that swung on and missed. That's a good example of Mike Leake with that knuckle curveball against a right-hander. I mean, you just see a lot of swings and misses on that pitch there.
Yachty with the target on the ground and just go out there and get it out there. The last thing you want to do is hang it down and away.
Here's a 2-2. Do they go back with the same pitch? They do. And it's popped up. Shallow center. Greg Garcia is called off by Randall Grichuk. Like to see your center fielder take charge.
No doubt. That's the way you do it out there. I mean, it's a much tougher play for your second baseman looking up into the sun. You know, you're the field general out there in center field. You take charge out there. And Garcia did the right things. He was underneath it, ready to make that play, but the last second he was called off by his center fielder. And a lot easier, especially with men on base. You know, he's got his momentum coming in rather backpedaling out.
We forget, Grichuk has only played 315 major league innings in center field. That's not a lot, and he comes in this year to be the everyday man. 2 outs, 2 on. First pitch, a strike to Chris Heisey. Struck out on a check swing back in the second inning, doubled and scored in the fourth. The 0-1. Hit sharply to third. What a play here by Carpenter. Thought about going to the bag. The stretch at first and held on to by Holiday. May have snow-coned it, but holds on. Nice play, Matt Carpenter. Ground balls, throwing, hitting, and tying your shoes. That's one way to do it. Greg Garcia showing us the major league way, I guess. There's Holiday. On base twice, was hit by a pitch and also singled, and lines out to third to start the bottom of 5. We're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Busch Stadium 3. Replica Busch Stadium with working lights presented by Ameren, Missouri is coming up Friday, April 15th. That weekend loaded with great giveaways. The Wainwright bobblehead, the Yadier Molina jersey with the 10-year anniversary patch on the sleeve. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com.
I saw that replica stadium is another outstanding item.
Here's Randall Grichuk. And Grichuk is out number 2. Also, there are very good seats remaining for the Cubs. They make their way to St. Louis. That'll be an entertaining series, and we'll see the debut in a Cubs uniform in St. Louis of Jason Hayward. His row arc is up to 86 pitches. And it brings in Brandon Moss.
Ball in.
That's 4 strikeouts for the right-hander. It's hard enough to hit in this game and play in the major leagues, and then when a ball gets away in your line of sight from the bullpen, it makes it even harder. That's what Brandon Moss just dealt with right there.
Well, Danny, let me tell you, if he saw that ball,
he's looking at the wrong thing.
He's looking at the wrong thing. You know, he better be looking at the release point of the pitcher on the mound, not the one in the bullpen.
You know, you brought up a really interesting point about the backdrop here at Roger Dean. They say it's even tougher for lefty because of the space between the backdrop, which you can see through, and then also you pick up the batting cage, the white on the right there, the top, the roof, as Moss squibs it towards third. And the tag is applied by Ryan Zimmerman on the high throw. We hope to visit with John Mozeliak coming up in the 6th inning. Moss is hitless today. Come see the Cardinals take on the Reds Saturday, April 16th. That day, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older receive an Adam Wainwright bobblehead, courtesy of Nathan's Famous and Schnucks. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. And again, that weekend full of giveaways with the stadium on Friday night with lights. Then you have the bobblehead with Adam Wainwright. And then Sunday, the Yadier Molina jersey. Here is Matt Bowman. He takes over from Mike Leake. Leake struck out 7. And kind enough to join us, the general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, John Mozeliak. And the first pitch is taken for a strike. Mo, good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, gentlemen. Hot day out there, huh?
Man, it is hot. Let's start with anything with Colton Wong. We saw him leave the game, and the medical team went over and just visited with Mike Matheny. I'm assuming it's just precaution, make sure he's okay?
I would assume so. I have not had any communication with our medical staff yet, but I will say it's a little more difficult in spring training than it is in regular season, so my fingers are crossed.
It is a hot day. You're sweating. You're right behind home plate.
That sun is hot.
That pitch is swung on and missed. Matt Bowman is an interesting guy, and Bowman is a Rule 5 pickup and still with the team. Can you explain how this works, how a Rule 5 player that is still with the club and you guys picked him up from the Mets, how that works and how he would have to stay with the team?
Okay, well, the Rule 5 draft is usually the first week in December, and that's when all the rosters are frozen within all of baseball. And then major league teams have an opportunity to draft players off of a AAA roster and subsequently put them on their major league roster. Now, the caveat here is for us to keep Mr. Bowman, he would have to remain on our 25-man roster for the entire season. Now, he could be on the DL, but he does have to have 90 days of active duty.
What have you thought of him so far?
So far he's been very impressive. He's a ground ball machine. Historically, he's been a strike thrower. Of course, he then has the walk. But, I would say that when you look at our depth, it's going to be difficult for him to make our club. But, there's a lot of things that still could happen and transpire between now and opening day. And so, we're not forced to have to do anything yet, and we're going to be patient with it.
Jordan Walden, I guess, is the big question in that bullpen right now. How's his health?
Well, I think it's a good observation and one that when he's thrown this spring, he has looked very good. But unfortunately, he's just not quite to the point where I think you can consistently count on him. And so, from a physical standpoint, he continues to really pump the brakes. And with that, we have to allow him to sort of dictate where this is going to end up. But I do think there's some level of frustration at this point. I think it's hard for us to carry 7 relievers if you can only use one every 3 or 4 days.
And there's a look at Jordan Walden right there. Can that decision be made for you, Mo, if he comes out and let's say he throws today or tomorrow and then another time next week and he looks okay and comes away unscathed? Would you feel comfortable with him starting with the club?
I think my confidence, and I think I speak for Mike and his staff as well, is you'd like to see back-to-back. Because ultimately, in a 162-game season, usually your relievers have to be able to go back-to-back days. And so I would have liked to have seen multiple back-to-backs, candidly, and, we're just running out of time. So I think we have to be a little cautious on what we can expect from him at this point.
In terms of the rest of the club, Yachty, we saw Carpenter take one off his fingertips. The rest of the club in general pretty healthy as we speak right now?
Overall, obviously we lost Peralta early. The pickup of Tejada, I think, solidifies our shortstop situation. And in terms of Yachty's case, I would say he was probably the biggest surprise for us this camp, because I don't think most of us thought he'd be ready by opening day. And he's just worked extremely hard to get there. And if all things go well, he should be the starter.
Swinging the bat the way that you'd like to see?
Obviously, you want to see power and you want to see production, but you have to understand what he's been through. And I would say overall, he has taken positive steps forward.
When I look at the first base situation, I'm seeing a lot of Holiday, seeing a little Moss, little Adams. How do you see this playing out as we go through the regular season?
It's probably one of the most asked questions I get, and I think the easiest way for me to answer it is I hope you have 35 or 30 home runs coming from first base, and so whomever's there, I just hope it's productive. And I do think, like with Matt Holliday being able to play first base, it's obviously going to free someone else to play left. And from a defensive standpoint, the dynamics change a little bit. Then when you look at Holliday in left, hopefully you're facing a right-hand pitcher where you can get that left-handed bat at first base. So I think it's really just about flexibility and really creating depth for our bench. And so if Matt Adams or Brandon Moss isn't starting that day, well, that's a bat off the bench. Same could be said for Holliday that day.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. We're back to the top of the lineup and Stephen Drew. Is it hard to keep guys sharp with that kind of rotation potentially? Holliday's going to be in there, but in particular with the other two.
I don't think so. I mean, obviously, guys want to play, guys want their at-bats, but I think there's enough flexibility in this lineup, and when you can look sort of matchup oriented, you should be fine.
John Mozeliak, our guest, the Cardinals GM. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Stephen Drew. And a fly ball lifted down the left field line and out of play. Who's caught your attention that maybe we're not talking about and should be?
Let's see here.
Hazel Baker, I guess?
Well, I think, he's had a very impressive spring. The addition of him last summer, I think, was something that we were excited about, and we sort of had an idea of what we were getting with him. I think for me, the big, the positive coming out of camp really is Ben Carlos Martinez, because there were a lot of question marks going in, and he's really thrown the ball well, looks very lively, looks healthy, and very energized. So I'm pretty excited about that.
You have to be excited, I think, with what you've seen from Mike Leake, too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously today the line doesn't read well, but, he pitched better than that. Look, the guy's an athlete. I think he's one of those guys that's just extremely competitive, and is exactly what we needed. When you lose somebody like a Lance Lynn, when you were looking at different free agents over the course of that period, to end up with Mike, I think is a great solution for us.
1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs and a runner at second base. Stephen Drew, a tough afternoon. He struck out 3 times against Leake, who struck out 7 here today. 1-2 pitch. Instead, Yachty will be out to visit. It's kind of been an uneventful camp in many ways. I mean, you had the Peralta situation, but for the most part, am I right in saying it's been a fairly quiet camp for you?
I would agree with that. I hope it remains that way. Usually the best judge of camp is as little as possible as far as noise. And so for us, I mean, that's always our goal. And really that means everybody's getting their work in, everybody's showing up on time, and at the end of the day, we are where we need to be. You know, my one takeaway really from just a pure baseball standpoint over the last week is it's been a little sloppy. Mm-hmm. Defensively, it's just not been what you would expect from this club, and you know, my hope is it's not something that we're just going to wake up and hit the on button, but we'll transition to some cleaner baseball over the next 5 games.
What do you expect out of Tejada?
You know, I think you know, a steady Eddie defender is what we hope for, and then ultimately just gives us something from an offensive standpoint. And early on, that's what we've seen. You know, he's not a guy afraid of facing a tough pitcher. He swings the bat pretty well. And
come on, Ruben.
And
we're just talking about you.
Everybody we talk about, so we sort of put the jinx on. So defensively, though, it's been a tough week.
Yeah, it has been. That's a 3rd error committed by the Cardinals today. And it extends the inning to Matt Dendecker. Shift was on. That ball came up on him, and he commits the error. And that's the 3rd committed by the Cardinals this afternoon, trailing 4-0. It is funny, though. I mean, you look at a team and you say, well, the team's been sloppy in spring. It is hard just to flip on that switch, even going from spring to the regular season.
Well, you don't want to have that mentality, because if you do, it usually never happens. And so, you know, finding your rhythm, finding a pace that you're comfortable with is very important. And I do feel like, you know, Mike and his staff do a great job of keeping everything going. And, you know, I don't want to put too much pressure on you know, the importance of having Jose Oquendo around or not being there. But I think a little of what's going on right now is just sort of feeling out sort of defensive assignments and positioning. And we're definitely trying to work through that in his absence.
One of the things you mentioned was that the young guys have to step up, namely like a Grichuk or a Piscotty. And when you think about those 2 guys, they have had, in a good way, quiet camps because they've been so good. It's been a good camp for those 2 guys.
Yeah, it's always nice to see guys like that put up reasonable numbers. In other words, if they were, you know, 0 for 21, the world would be panicking. And so it's just...
Oh, my. That gets by Carpenter. A run will score to make it 5-0.
Danny, I might have you go out and grab a glove.
Well, I've been there at fantasy camp, and this has the looks of a fantasy camp game.
Hungo just punched me. So I'm gonna rescind that idea.
So 2 errors in the inning, and 4 today for the Cardinals.
Oddly, not hard hit balls, but a lot of English on that one.
A lot of English.
This is an awkward moment on TV.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but that's all right. We'll get through it. Little check swing. See, when you start making excuses for the players, you'll fit right in with us.
Well, the good thing is I don't have to worry about that, right?
Runners at 2nd and 3rd. And this is Michael A. Taylor.
He's had an impressive spring.
Oh, we were talking about that earlier. He's been probably the most impressive player for the Nationals in this spring. And it turns out to be an extended inning now for Bowman.
And Bowman's done his job, right? We talked earlier about making sure you're getting those ground balls. That's the type of pitcher he is. He has that sink working, and he accomplished that. You know, unfortunately, you still got to catch the ball.
1-1 is popped up. Holiday over and out of play. Unfortunately, we have not seen Alex Reyes except on the backfields. I know you've been back watching him. I saw him pitch the other day. In my mind, Mo, he's as good as advertised when I watch him throw. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, he's a special talent, and one that we can take our time with, because we're not forced to make any decisions with him at this point. But you know, you look at what he's doing, and someone that's, you know, sitting 95 to 97 with his fastball, command of his breaking ball, command of his changeup, knows when to use it. Just a very effective pitcher.
That drops in. It's a fair ball. It's that kind of day for the Cardinals, and 2 runs will score. When you think of an Alex Reyes, and like you said, you don't have to push him, is the idea at some point to introduce him to Major League Baseball by having him work out of the pen if everybody's healthy, and, you know, just ease him in?
As you know, my strategy with some of these young pitchers is certainly give them the opportunity to do that out of the bullpen. But I would say in his case, he cannot be one of those where we're sacrificing innings too early, because at some point he's going to be a top rotation pitcher. And so you don't want to end up with where all he gets is 70 innings this year, and you want to start him next year, and then you're saying he can only do 120. So for me, it would have to be sort of end of season. He's already accomplished what he needed to do as a starter, and then give him some bullpen opportunity.
John Mozeliak is with us. He's part of a special event coming up in St. Louis. We're going to tell you about that after this brief timeout. Mentioned going to break that John Mozeliak, the Cardinals GM, is part of a very special event. John is involved with a number of charities. This one very special to him and his family. It's the 18th annual Parkinson's Golf Classic in honor of Jack Buck. It's May 16th at Algonquin Golf Club. This will sell out. And if you'd like to become a member of this, to join in, make sure you do it by either calling or going to their website. The number, 636-778-3377. 636-778-3377. Or STLAPDA.org. STLAPDA.org. As Rivera is the new pitcher to Yadier Molina. And I know that Parkinson's and what it has done with your family is something that's very special to you in terms of fighting this disease and trying to come up with a cure.
You know, my father-in-law had it, and subsequently I got involved in the local chapter in St. Louis. And at the time, we were just looking at ways to try to improve this event. And, you know, fortunately, the people that do all the work and behind the scenes, they moved the tournament to Algonquin, which is a beautiful country club in St. Louis. And the event has just been, from attendance standpoint, as you point out, it will be sold out. And it's a fun day because everybody gets to play golf, nice lunch, and then after everybody plays golf, we do a Q&A talking a little Cardinal baseball.
And having been a part of these with John Mozeliak, all the cell phones are off, no microphones, no media, and you kind of let it rip. You're very open with those that have questions about, well, the one that I was at, a couple I've been at, What happened with that Pujols contract? What's going on with the Cardinals? What do you think this? And you give the honest answers of what's happening with the club, which makes this a very, very special event, I think.
Well, I'd like to think I do that all the time, but as
John,
you
it's me. It's the media.
Oh, Danny. But it is something that I do think it makes the evening a little more special, and it gives them some insights really on some of the things that are behind the scenes that happen that are sort of involved in my day-to-day, which I think a lot of people look at my job and they think about it simply as running the 25-man roster, but there's a lot more things that are involved, and can share a few stories of what I've seen over the years, and it makes for a fun night.
And we also have at that event usually someone or a family that has been affected in some way with Parkinson's, and you see that up close in front of you, and you know what, all of a sudden people are digging deep and trying to make sure that we find a cure, which is the most important reason as to why we're there.
Well, exactly, and you know, one of the things that makes this night so meaningful to me is it also tries to help people that need help. And you know, obviously when you're dealing with diseases, you always want to end goal is end it and find a cure. But in the meantime, there are people that are suffering from these diseases, specifically Parkinson's affects the elderly, and things get a lot more difficult for the spouse and perhaps even the children that are involved. And so having a support system set up that some of these dollars go to is really important, and you see the lives it touches.
There's Tim Cooney begins to throw. That's good to see, as Cooney has battled a sore shoulder and arm at times this spring, so be good to see him back out there and potentially in that rotation for Memphis. John Mozeliak is with us again. That is coming up, the 18th annual Parkinson's Golf Classic, May 16th. That's a Monday at Algonquin Golf Club in St. Louis. Number to call 636-778-3377 or the website stlapda.org, and it will sell out. 2 balls and 1 strike on Ruben Tejada, with Washington leading 7-0. We'll show that graphic again to break. Make sure that people sign up, and as we mentioned before, it will sell out, and a great afternoon and evening for everyone. Cooney, where does he stand right now with your club?
Well, I think the key for him is to show that he's healthy. As you point out, he's likely headed to Memphis for the rotation, but he's definitely behind. He hasn't pitched much this spring, you know, which is unfortunate because we definitely had some high expectations for him coming into camp. We'll slow play it at this point, make sure he's ready to go. Hopefully today he can get his inning of work in, and perhaps then his next time out he could get 2 to 3.
3-2 pitch, and it's swung on and missed. Mo, thanks for being with us, and thanks for what you do in St. Louis as well with the various charities you're involved with.
Danny, thank you, and hopefully for a better day tomorrow.
Well, let's hope so. Not as sloppy. Again, that number is 636-778-3377, or there is the website stlapda.org. Hope you join us coming up. Fox Sports Midwest is giving you a behind-the-scenes view of the Cardinals with news, features, and more on Cardinals Insider. This week, the Cardinals Director of Player Personnel discusses scouting Sing-Hwan Oh. Also, we talk with Whitey Herzog, hear from Adam Wainwright, balancing his leadership role with the Cardinals in his family life. Cardinals Insider brought to you by your Mid-America Chevy dealers tomorrow after the game on Fox Sports Midwest. Lindsey Weber hosts that show and does a great job. Cardinals Insider coming up. The first pitch is driven out to deep right field, and the catch is made. It's Piguero in right field. And Tim Cooney is your new pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals as we start play here in the top of the seventh and what has been a sloppy affair for St. Louis.
Well, we saw Cooney at the big league level last year. Struggled in his first start, then pitched more effectively in the others, then had a appendectomy and they shut him down for the rest of the season. Little shoulder problems earlier in spring, so it's more important that he's just back on the mound and throwing strikes.
So one out, and here is Reed Johnson. I found the comments of John Mozeliak, I don't know if you felt the same way, but interesting about Jordan Walden and back-to-back games. And if he can't do that coming out of spring, then that spot may go to someone else potentially as he tries to build back up.
Well, that's the one thing that you have to be a little concerning about the Cardinal bullpen, is we both feel it's going to be very effective. But you, other than say maybe a Tyler Lyons or whoever's going to be that long man in the bullpen, everybody else basically is a one-inning pitcher.
So the Lance Lynn injury, and there's Lance on the right with Derek Lilliquist, opened up the spot for Mike Leake. So then potentially you're talking about, Al, the addition of maybe a Bowman. That becomes a guy that you are impressed enough with to keep around and pitch out of your bullpen. Maybe.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, if the Cardinals were to go to that route of using the disabled list for a guy like Walden or somebody down there, you know, it does buy you time to further evaluate a Bowman. And we've seen that roster spot be a little creative at times, too, for Rule 5 guys.
Cooney gets the strikeout. And there's two away. Edward Jones is honored to sponsor the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame and the annual induction process that gives fans a voice in honoring the team's greatest players. Find the 8-man ballot on Cardinals.com/HOF. Make your selection for the two most deserving legends that will go into the Cardinals Hall of Fame class of 2016. Vote now at Cardinals.com/HOF. It's a who's who on that list. Some of the recently retired players and some of the all-time greats. Is Fryer, the new catcher, will give a look and then give way to the first baseman for St. Louis, Luke Voigt. 7-0 midway through 7. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your local Hyundai dealers. Visit buyhyundai.com. Just a gorgeous day here at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. The Easter Sunday tomorrow. We'll have the game for you. The Marlins and the Cardinals on Fox Sports Midwest. Here's Jacob Wilson again this spring, getting an extended look for the Cardinals. Sean Burnett is the new pitcher for the Nationals. Cardinals have a left-hander getting loose. That's Kevin Segrist in their pen. One-0 is popped up. Hit towards short, and I believe that is Brendan Ryan battling the sun. It is. Boy, we had a nice conversation with Brendan before the game, didn't we?
Absolutely. Another birthday boy today. So Wilson flies out to Brendan Ryan, who he's on the bubble for this ball club. The one thing that might help him is he bats from the right side, as a lot of the guys in competition for that final roster spot or the bench is a lot of left-handed hitters, and they're kind of looking for a right-handed hitter to come off the bench.
He's had a very good spring for Washington. Luke Voigt, 22nd round selection back in 2013 out of Wildwood, Missouri. He played at Missouri State University. I would assume that he was a teammate of Tate Matheny's. So Mike is probably familiar with him. Diving stop by Brendan Ryan, and can't make the play. You know what's interesting is that we watch Brendan Ryan working with Trey Turner, who is, they think, the shortstop of the future on this exact play. Not quite the dive, but the backhanded play and how you get it out of the glove. And I asked Brendan before the game, I said, you know, what were you really focusing on with Trey Turner? He said, it's all about footwork with him. He said he's a great athlete. He said, but I'm using what I was taught by Jose Oquendo on certain drills, exactly what I was taught by Jose with Trey Turner. He said it still is something you use today, every single day during BP, and working on just moving to your left, and in that particular case, working on a backhanded play.
And all the Cardinal infielders enjoy Jose so much and so impressed with him, they decided they were going to show everyone how not to play the infield, with Jose being on crutches.
There's Brendan Ryan again, and this is a double play ball. Steps on the bag and slings it over to first for the double play. So right into the ball game and tested right away. We head to the 8th. All Washington on this Saturday afternoon.
Bomarito Infinity.
With us, it's the top of the 8th, and Washington leads St. Louis by the score of 7-0. Let's take a look at the day for Mike Leake. A little bit of everything as advertised. Tremendous athlete. He's our BJC Healthcare difference maker. Whether it was on the mound or at the plate, quick feet, the pickoff, or even just running first to third on a base hit.
Yeah, but that he pitched more effective than that line would indicate, and got his work in. Have one more tune-up before he'll be ready for the regular season. There you see Jose Oquendo. He had another surgical procedure on his knee, and our defense has suffered with him.
Wasn't that interesting, though, that Mo said whether or not it's a byproduct of Jose Oquendo not working with the guys as much, but it has maybe potentially made a difference here in spring training.
Well, then you follow it up with Brendan Ryan talking about how he's teaching the same drills he learned from Jose Oquendo. Pretty sound fundamentals. Those things don't change.
Chris Bostic. Brendan was telling us before the game, too, about being a part of Washington. And last year he was with the Yankees. He was injured for a good portion of the season. He said, I heard so much about this clubhouse. And you referenced it earlier today that, you know, Matt Williams may have lost the clubhouse, lost that team. That's taken on a short hop for the out. And Brendan said, I find it far from that. I find this to be a fun clubhouse, loose clubhouse. And I said, well, Brendan, that's you. And he said, well, I get that, but that's how I look at it, too, is that you got to have a little mix of the guys that are serious and the guys that are fun. And he said, I really like this team so far. What's on Tap is presented by Budweiser. Cardinals and Marlins tomorrow at noon St. Louis time.
And, you know, the one thing about Dusty Baker is a lot of people feel that he's a much better communicator, people person, rather than a tactician during the game. And I'll tell you one thing, he won't lose control of that locker room, you know, and he's still, even though he's 66 years of age, he still can speak the lingo, you know, of the kids today. And, you know, he commands a lot of respect in that clubhouse, too, for what he did. Everybody wears sweatbands that have your name on it.
And your face, I think, was on it, too. This is the pitch that Kevin Segrist has been trying to really improve upon, and this is a good one. Took something off it. Watch this. Whoop. Nice breaking ball there from Kevin Segrist.
Yeah, there's that real easy get-ahead breaking ball. If you can throw that, go along with his mid-90s fastball, and he is deceptive. Ball sneaks up on you.
And that's the changeup. Tails back in for the strikeout. Sunday, April 17th, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older can take home a replica Yadier Molina home white jersey. One-of-a-kind jersey features a special 10th anniversary Busch Stadium 3-patch, similar to the one that the team will wear the first homestand of this upcoming season. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. Here's Trey Turner. So add that jersey to your collection. So the Busch Stadium giveaway, the Wainwright bobblehead Molina jersey that first weekend against the Cincinnati Reds. Very good promotional schedule again put together by the Cardinals. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Trey Turner is at the plate. The aforementioned top prospect and shortstop for Washington.
Top pick of the Padres, and that came over in a trade.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Fouled back. 2 balls and 1 strike.
You talk about Segrist, you know, and working on different pitches. So I think that's what a lot of times people don't understand is whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, you're working on different things, and
goes down to get it, lines it down the left field line, and a fair ball off the wall. Hazelbaker has to dig it out of the corner. Turner is thinking 3. On his way to third, and he is in there. That's another reason they like him. He runs very, very well.
I knew he run very well, but I mean, there's no way that should have been a triple. Hazelbaker, who's really opened up some eyes here, was released by the Dodgers last year. Started Double-A, hit well there, got promoted to Triple-A. And, well, kind of sneaking around the outfield wall. Misses the cutoff man, and they're guaranteed he can get 3 bags.
Here's Brian Goodwin with a runner at third and a fastball in there for a strike.
See how Segrist goes after this left-handed batter. Numbers are very, very good, but he's had trouble with left-handed hitters.
Strike 2. Over 80 appearances for a lefty. You'd say, okay, well, he must be the situational lefty. That was not the case a year ago or at any time when you think about Kevin Segrist.
Led the National League in appearances. 3rd most ever by a Cardinal left-hander.
And the 0-2.
Steve Klein had 89, and then Ray King had 86, I believe. I think he had 81 a year ago.
Here's a 1-2. There's that breaking ball and a strikeout of Brian Goodwin. Scoreless frame for Kevin Segrist. We head to the bottom of the 8th. 7-0 Nationals.
Hi.
Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bommarito, where price sells cars. By Shelter Insurance, for your auto, home, and life. Visit your local agent or find us on the web at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield, we're your shelter. And by Bud Light. Raise one to right now. Unfortunately, his season was cut short a year ago. And he tried to come back in late September. That's Matt Belisle, and he's trying to catch on with the Washington Nationals in their bullpen.
Had a pretty good season with him, and looks like he probably will stick.
What a good guy, Matt Belisle.
Yes.
Last year, 34 games. Did exactly, when healthy, what the Cardinals expected him to do. Said he's really been working on a breaking ball. Talked to him before the game. He's a big hunter in the offseason, and that's how he likes to spend his time. And this year he said it was cut short, trying to rehab, make sure that his body was ready to go for spring training with no guarantee. And yet here he is with the Nationals, and it looks like he's going to make their club.
I remember he still had a little history with Dusty Baker, too, with Cincinnati, before he went to Colorado.
It's not overpowering stuff, but when you watch him pitch, he knows what he's doing. You know, it's in and out, up and down. He'll change speeds. Hazelbaker is at the plate. Just got a piece.
Sometimes you just have that presence, and you're not afraid out there. You'll attack the hitters.
Talked to Billy Miller about Hazelbaker. I said, what have you seen with him? And he said he belongs. And maybe it just was a case that now he feels that he belongs, he should be here. And he said we're also getting a case of what probably is a late bloomer. He's 28 years of age, retooled his swing midway through last summer. He's opened up eyes at this camp with the Cardinals. He felt that he owed the Cardinals to come back and sign with them. A lot of teams were looking at him, and he strikes out here. That's the first out here in the bottom of the 8th.
I got fooled a little bit by the velocity there of Bilal.
Here's Eric Fryer.
Early in camp looked like there could be 3 catchers, or even 2 if Molina was put on the disabled list. But now with Yachty appearing that he will be ready for opening day.
Fryer back to Belisle on his knees, and he made the catch.
Yachty's healthy. Looks like he'll be in the starting lineup. Be a week from tomorrow. They'll probably just be the 2 catchers, Pena and Yachty or Molina.
Haven't seen a lot of Brian Pena, and he was dealing with a sore arm in camp, so Molina has been doing the bulk of the duty of catching. 2 outs, nobody on, and here is Peguero. Carlos Peguero made a nice catch in right field 2 innings ago and pops that foul out of play. He does have major league experience.
Another big guy that really has kind of opened up the eyes. And like I said, every day you're not only auditioning for the St. Louis Cardinals, but you know, the host of scouts that are in the stands looking to fill out rosters.
1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs. Be interested to hear the comments of Mike Matheny after the ball game today, and is he frustrated with what he's seen defensively the last week and really the camp? It has not been a sharp camp for the Cardinals defensively, and today they have 4 errors that led to a bunch of runs. Just shows you too at this level, Al, you don't make the plays, major league hitters make you pay.
A lot of times it's not, you know, who wins the game, it's who loses it. Just not executing, not making routine plays.
2-2 the count.
I know one thing, there can't be any, you know, minor league free agent that signed with the Cardinals that didn't believe that Mike Matheny gave him a legitimate shot.
These guys have played a lot.
They played an awful lot. Quite frankly, the young players or the guys that are not going to be on the team have produced more than the regulars.
Stays 2-2. One thing I've noticed about Peguero, this man does not get cheated. I mean, he's up there and he takes a hack. 6'5", 260 pounds. He moves very well. He's from the Dominican. The 2-2 again. The high fly ball lifted into right. That'll stay in the ballpark, and the catch is made. So we head to the 9th. Mike Matheny's club is down by 7. 7-0 Washington as we head to the ninth. Jonathan Broxton will pitch this inning. Some ugly defense, some good defense today.
Well, good defense for them. Spectacular play right there by Espinosa. Made another one right here. He knocks it down, but scrambles and throws out the runner at first. Young Sizemore over third made a leaping catch, and Jonathan Broxton will take over here in the ninth. The Cardinals trailing 7-0.
Jen Langosh of MLB.com and the Cardinals beat reporter for the Web reports that Colton Wong said he jammed his left knee while diving for a ball today. That's why he left early from the game. Tests showed no damage. So that's good news.
The number for Broxton came over at the trade deadline. They re-signed him in the offseason.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Drew Vedelson is the hitter. That's taken high. Laffey, a left-hander, getting loose. Say that 3 times fast. Getting loose in the Washington pen. And a strikeout for Jonathan Broxton. That's how we start the ninth.
Broxton doesn't throw as hard as he once did, and takes the ball, breaking ball. And seems like Mike Matheny and Derek Lilliquist have a lot of confidence in him. He was used quite a bit down the stretch.
Marmolejos is the new hitter.
Say that 3 times real fast.
Marmolejos, Marmolejos, Marmolejos.
Good job.
Easier to say Jose. He's at the plate. Here's an 0-1 pitch by Broxton. Are you concerned at all? I mean, it's spring training. You've been around this game a long time. You get concerned when you see defense like this, and it's just not as sharp as you'd like to see, obviously, in regular season play.
You get concerned, but then you also know that these guys do work hard. They have pride in what they're doing. They'll overcome these things. It's just frustrating, but I think they're a much better defensive club than obviously they've shown today.
One and 2 the count with 1 out. Hit to short. And that play isn't made. Will they give Garcia an error on that? If it is, it's the 5th error for the Cardinals this afternoon. Still waiting on the ruling, and it is a hit. Here's Wilson Ramos. On a hot day. It's been behind the plate all afternoon. Ouch. One out runner at first. And the 0-1. Now 0-2. Reed Johnson at the on-deck circle. Been a quiet camp for Jonathan Broxton, just going about his business, and he has pitched very well. Here's an 0-2. Up the middle, could be 2. A flip to second, double play. 4-6-3 on the double play. Player of the game, Tanner Roark, 5 innings, 6 hits, no runs allowed. He walked 1 and struck out 4. Tanner Roark, our Budweiser Player of the game. So Laffey, the lefty, is the new pitcher, finishing up his warm-up tosses, and he'll get the 9th inning. Andrew Sohn, who wears number 90, the Cardinals' 6th-round selection back in June of 2014. And he'll lead it off for St. Louis here in the bottom of the 9th. Played baseball at Western Michigan University.
Also was hockey.
First pitch is a strike.
Get on base.
Chopped off the plate, hit to short. High chopper to Brendan Ryan. Nice play. I don't think there's ever been anybody around the Cardinals that doubted the defense of Brendan Ryan. You know, it was just some of the other things that you saw with him offensively. He was an okay hitter when he first got to the big leagues, and then it tailed off. But in terms of his glove, he can pick it.
No doubt. And he should be left-handed the way he acts. I
was trying to be kind, Al.
Well, I could say it. but I mean, Brendan Ryan told me one time, he goes, you know, you need people like me in a club. I keep things loose, and I'll take the pressure off of other guys because I can handle it. And he got a boatload of it, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Blake Drake out of Concordia University. He was an 18th round selection in 2014. Been at Johnson City, Peoria, and Palm Beach. Out of Ramona, California.
Hey, ready?
Here's a 3-1 pitch. And it's taken high. Michael Ullman will be the hitter, backup catcher. I was thinking this might be the kind of time that you want to get Matt Adams in at bat against a lefty. We'll see if Adams will be in that starting lineup tomorrow. And we may see him before this day is through as well.
Yeah, it's one of those games, I think, that Mike's trying not to get anybody else hurt.
Ullman looks at a strike.
But this is where I'm talking about that, you know, that there's a lot of players that will end up at the minor league camp that will walk away with a very positive experience, and to say that Mike Matheny was very fair to them. And a guy like Ullman, who's at the plate, is just how much he has progressed from a year ago. I mean, they're really pleased with what they've seen, the progress he's made defensively.
Here's an 0-2. Ullman with a high fly ball out to deep left field. At the track, and the catch is made. He gave it a ride, and he's known for his bat, not his defense. But as you mentioned, it's definitely improved.
And he should be at Memphis this year. Pryor's a 30-year-old, but you know, a lot of times you have your prospects at Double-A, and more so than you have at Triple-A. More of the mercenary at Triple-A, the 4A player.
And it brings in Jacob Wilson. First pitch, a strike.
When I say 4A players, they're, you know, maybe not quite good enough to be a major league player, or they've been up and down that shuttle of AAA to the big leagues. But yet they're a good, solid AAA player and put up the numbers for you and help you develop the prospects that you do have at that level.
1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs. Played behind the runner at first with the Nationals leading 7-0. Luke Voit is on deck. Wilson trying to extend the ball game. That's taken high. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Need base runners.
Jaime Garcia on the mound tomorrow, scheduled to make the start against the Marlins, on the air at noon. 3-1 pitch. 3-2.
Angel's got dinner reservations. Along with you, right?
Hey, stay all day for a Cardinal victory, Al.
You can't keep a straight face with that one.
3-2 pitch to Wilson. And it's in the dirt. So Luke Voit will get another plate appearance. Last August, Voit had 31 RBIs in that month alone. Started at State College. That was in 13. In 14, he was at Palm Beach. 15, he was at Palm Beach. Drove in 77 last year.
Florida State All-Star last year.
One-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes. Voit trying to extend the ball game to Greg Garcia, who's on deck.
Just keep on extending it.
Playing the music from Three's Company. I know you would have loved to have had that role of John Ritter. Popped up and out of play. I know you too well, Matt Hungarian.
Reserve comment.
The 2-1 pitch. Inside, it's 3-1.
How many more batters before Adams gets the game winner?
No activity in the bullpen for Washington.
I'm always trying to put you out there in the field.
Yeah.
Now, Dusty's going to make you the pitcher if another walk.
Flamethrower. It's 72 on the gun here.
There you go.
Bases loaded for Garcia. Mike Maddox will visit with Laffey.
This is about the time that we bring up the old statement from Joe Torre's attitude coach Bob Gibson down with Atlanta. Went out to a young pitcher and said, if there weren't 50,000 people here in the stands, I'd slap you to your knees. The words of inspiring. Garcia yesterday got a base-loaded walk to give the Cardinals a brief lead.
Hits with the bases loaded. No activity for Washington in their pen. And there's a strike. Seven nothing the lead for Washington. We're in the bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded. 2 down. Popped up and out of play, and the Cardinals down to their final strike. Nice play made by a fan. Sometimes we say sign him up. Well, today we mean it. Just one of those days here at the ballpark. It happens. 0-2 pitch to Garcia. Blues hockey coming up at 5:30 later tonight. 0-2 pitch. Just missed.
Ricky Horton's leading the cheers. Let's go Cardinals.
Went right from the radio booth to the stands and started the wave at one point.
See the gapper out in right center right now.
The 1-2. Garcia into shallow center, going out Ryan. He'll be called off, and the center fielder makes the catch, and this game comes to a close. The Cardinals commit 5 errors today, and they lose 7-0.
And not much offense either, so a disappointing day, but knock one more off the calendar as the Cardinals will look forward to next Sunday as they will be in the feature game to start the 2016 season opener.
We'll be back with more in just a moment. 7-0 the final. Back to wrap it up right after this.